Acha, so today we'll be doing matrix transformations, and जिसमें हम लोग will do stretches and enlargements about how do the factors of the matrices determine the enlargements and stretches in our transformations. So we'll start off with our basic graph, matrix transformation. All right. So if we've got this graph that has a plotted point at, we can say, 1 and 3, and this goes till like 6, ये इधर आ जाएगा, and then 1 3 6 0. So it has a plotted point at 3 1, which is this point, and what we're going to do is we're going to apply different matrices to it and then figure out कि कौन से matrices are show stretches on the x-axis, which matrices show the stretches on the y-axis, and which matrices show the enlargement factor. So first of all, we're going to multiply. अच्छा, first of all, हमारे इस point का जो matrix है that becomes 0 0 0 1 3 1 3 0. This is what we learned yesterday as well कि हम लोग पहले इस point को plot करते हैं, फिर इसको करते हैं, फिर इसको करते हैं, फिर इसको करते हैं. This is how we come up with the matrix. So moving forward with it, we'll first multiply a matrix that is 2 0 0 1 with our point coordinate matrix that is 0 0 0 1 3 1 3 0. So by matrix multiplication, the product that we'll get is 0 0 0 1 6 1 6 0. Now when we plot this on our graph, what we're going to get is a point that is at 6 1, which means a point that is here. So we get a point at 6 1. Now what happened to our point is that it did not stretch on the y-axis, but it stretched on the x-axis. And how much did it stretch on the x-axis was that first it was at 3 and now it's at 6. So it's stretched with the factor of 2 on the x-axis. So what we conclude is that when we have a matrix that has a its a element as anything, for example, we can just write it as k over here. If it has an a element that is equal to k or any other constant, we say that it is stretched by a factor of k on the x-axis while the y coordinates remain the same. अब y में हमारे पास 1 था, इसलिए nothing happened to the y-axis, but x-axis में हमारे पास 2 था, so the point stretched on the x-axis by a factor of 2. ठीक है? This is how you'll show the stretch on the x-axis. कोई भी हमारे पास 2 by 2 का matrix होगा, उसमें k 0 0 and 1. This will determine our stretch on the x-axis, the first element of our matrix. Now moving forward with it, if we multiply another matrix that is 1 0 0 2 with our same coordinate matrix that is 0 0 0 1 3 1 and 3 0, multiplying this with matrix multiplication, what we're going to get is 0 0 0 2 3 2 and 3 0. अब इसमें what do we get on our graph? We get a point that is on 3 2. Wait a minute, not 2 here. That is on 3 2. So we get a point over here. अब इस point को क्या हुआ? It did not stretch on the x-axis, but what did it do? It stretched on the y-axis. पहले वो 1 पे था तो वो 2 पे चला गया, which means that it increased on the y-axis with a factor of 2. So what we now conclude is that on the when there is a stretch on the y-axis, we have our d element, which is equal to k. So in conclusion, we get that 1, 0, 0, k determines our stretch on the y-axis, while our x-axis remains the same. अब ये तो हो गया हमारा stretch on the coordinate axis, that are the vertical and the horizontal axis. अब how are we going to determine the enlargement factor? Enlargement का मतलब है कि your point is stretching not only on one of the axis but on the both of the axis simultaneously. मतलब x और y axis दोनों पे simultaneously आपका point जो है वो enlarge होगा. So if we have a matrix that is 2, 0, 0, 2. Now I'm changing the elements of both the A and the D, and we multiply it with our coordinate graph, coordinate matrix that is 0, 0, 0, 1, 3, 1, and 3, 0. What we're going to get is 0, 0, 0, 2, 6, 2, and 6, 0. अब now इसमें क्या हुआ है आपके पास कि your not only your x axis changed but your y axis changed as well. इसमें आपके पास जो point plot होगा वो third point होता है, so it's 6 2. Plotting this on our graph, what we get is we get a point over here, which means कि हमारा जो ये वाला point था, it did not only stretch on the x axis but it also stretched on the y axis, making a point over here. ठीक है. अब इसके पास आ गई हमारे पास दो तरह की stretching, which was on the x axis on with a factor of 2 and on the y axis with a factor of 2. Now what we conclude by this is that when we have a matrix that has some number greater than 1 on in its A element and in its D element, we say that we have a matrix k 0 0 k which shows enlargement. How does it show enlargement? It shows on the x-axis it stretches on the factor of 2, and on the y-axis it also stretches with a factor of 2. So concluding this, it enlarges by a factor of 2 or by a factor of k. ठीक है. So enlargement में आपके पास क्या हो जाएगा? You will have stretch on the x-axis as well as the y-axis. Making a summary of this entire thing, we say we have one matrix that is k 0 0 1. We have another matrix that is 1 0 0 k, and we have another matrix that has k 0 0 k. So the first matrix is going to show our stretch on the x-axis by a factor of k. The second one is going to show our stretch on the y-axis by a factor of k. And the last one is going to show enlargement by a factor of k. So what you have to keep in mind is that the first element shows the stretch on the x-axis, the last element shows the stretch on the y-axis, and the two elements, the A and D, simultaneously represent our stretch on the shows our enlargement by a factor of k. अब इस k में कुछ भी हो सकता है, अगर ये 1 से छोटा हुआ तो हमारे पास enlargement की जगह वो decrease in size आ जाएगा. But if it's greater than 1, then we'll have a size greater than we'll have the enlargement on the positive axis. मतलब positive side पे enlargement जाएगी. Now this is all about reflection right now. अब reflection matrices को हम forward लेके चलते हैं.